7 warnings. Commander Ashtar SHERAN transmitted them specifically for this month, specifically for this soil, specifically for the souls who have been feeling something building beneath the surface of their ordinary days. 7 things. And if you dismiss even one, what approaches in the weeks ahead will find you unprepared. This is not a message of fear. Fear closes the field. This is a transmission of readiness, and there is a significant difference between the two. Stay until the 7th warning, because Ashtar said the 7th is the one most lightworkers in America will resist, and resistance to it is the very thing that could cost them the most. You have been feeling it, not as an idea, not as something you read or heard. You have been feeling it in your body, in the quality of your sleep, in the strange weight that sits in your chest some mornings before you even remember what day it is. Something is approaching this country, something enormous and clarifying, and the souls who were placed here to hold frequency during this passage have been receiving preliminary transmissions for weeks through their nervous systems, through their dreams, through the inexplicable emotions that arrive with no personal story attached to them. You are not imagining it. You are designed to feel this before it arrives. April is not an ordinary month in this timeline. Look at the numbers. 4, the month of foundation and earth. The year carrying the 6, the frequency of responsibility and covenant. April 2026 opens 3 distinct energetic windows, and the 3rd one, which begins on the 22nd, is what Ashtar has called the threshold moment, for what he refers to as the American frequency grid. What happens in the consciousness field of this country between now and May's first days will echo forward in ways that no single human lifetime has ever witnessed. You are here for this. You were not placed here by accident. Join our Stellar Command Portal channel, share this video in your family WhatsApp groups, and with the people who matter most to you. Do not let these words stay only with you. Comment below your name, your city, and a message of love. And subscribe to the channel now. This transmission was prepared before the warnings themselves are spoken, because the preparation matters. You cannot receive what you are not open to receive. The Catholic mystics who wrote of the Great Chastisement always preceded their most specific warnings with a call to interior readiness, to quiet the anxious mind so the deeper knowing could surface. The Hopi elders taught the same thing in different language. You must become the hollow bone before the sacred breath can move through you. Both traditions understood that the message does not land in a closed field. Open now. What follows requires that your discernment be active, not your fear. The first warning Ashtar issued concerns time. Not time as clock measurement, but time as a living field. And that field is behaving strangely in April 2026. If you have noticed that weeks feel compressed, that events from 3 months ago feel like yesterday while yesterday feels distant and uncertain, you are reading the field accurately. The membrane between the timeline you have known and the timeline that is arriving has grown thin. This is not metaphor. This is energetic physics. The Arcturian Council in their last transmission used the phrase temporal overlap. And what they meant by it is that 2 versions of Earth's story are currently occupying the same space, and the one that stabilizes is the one that the majority of awakened souls choose to anchor with their frequency in the days ahead. The second warning is the one that will feel most personal to those watching who live in the interior of this country, in the wide states, in the rural communities, in the places where a person can still drive 40 minutes and not see another house. Ashtar has identified what he calls frequency voids, geographic areas where the light grid has thin coverage because the awakened souls stationed there have, in many cases, pulled back from their practice. Not from laziness, not from failure, from exhaustion, from years of carrying and knowing that their immediate community could not receive, and the weight of that isolation has, quietly, dimmed the signal. If you are one of those souls, the second warning is addressed directly to you. You know who you are. You are the one who moved to a small town 20 years ago for reasons you could not fully articulate. Something pulled you there. Something said this is where you are needed. And the years since have been a slow education in spiritual solitude. Your neighbors are good people. Your family loves you. But there is almost no one in your physical daily life with whom you can speak the full truth of what you know and what you sense and what you have been shown in the dark hours before morning. The isolation has been the assignment, but it was never meant to be the destination. The second warning is this: the time for the private vigil is ending. What Ashtar is asking of the souls in those interior regions is to reactivate, to return to daily practice with the intention of anchoring, not just receiving. Anchoring is a specific act. It is different from prayer, though prayer can be a component of it. It is different from meditation, though stillness is often its doorway. Anchoring is the deliberate conscious act of holding a frequency, of saying, with the full authority of an embodied soul, this frequency is real, it is present, it is stable, right here, in this body, on this land. The SHERAN Council has been transmitting for months on the importance of physical location, of souls in the interior plains, in the mountain states, in the Gulf Coast communities, understanding that their geographic placement is not incidental. You are placed there the way a stake is placed in a grid. Your presence, your conscious activated presence, is a coordinate. The second warning carries an urgency that the first did not, because the window for reactivation is specific. Before April 22nd, before the third energetic threshold opens, Ashtar is asking that every soul who has been in retreat, voluntarily or from exhaustion, return to practice for at minimum 7 consecutive days. Not for hours, not with elaborate ceremony. 7 minutes of conscious anchoring morning and evening with the specific intention, I am here, I am awake, I hold this frequency for the grid. That is the entire instruction. Its simplicity is not an accident. Ashtar said, the souls most needed in the next 30 days are the ones most likely to believe the instruction must be more complicated than it is. To those of you watching from somewhere like rural Nebraska, or the back roads of western Tennessee or the high desert of New Mexico, you who drive past open land every day and feel something from it that you cannot explain to anyone at Sunday dinner. This warning is addressed to you with the full tenderness of the command. You have not been forgotten. You have not been wrong. The years of quiet knowing were not wasted. They were the preparation, and now comes the moment the preparation was for. The Pleiadian Council, whose transmissions carry the warmth of the family frequency, rather than the tactical precision of Ashtar's direct communications, added something to this warning that I am asked to pass forward. They said, tell the ones who have been alone in this that they were never alone. The loneliness was a perception created by the density of the dimension. At the level of the frequency grid, every awakened soul in America has been in continuous contact with every other awakened soul in America. You have been building something together without knowing it. What you anchored in those private mornings, in those 3 a.m. prayers with no audience, it accumulated. It is real, and it is about to matter in a way you can see. The third warning is physical, not metaphorically physical, directly, literally, specifically physical. Ashtar transmitted this warning with a specificity that surprised even experienced receivers in the command network, because he named what is happening in the bodies of awakened souls in America right now, and he named it with a precision that leaves no room for comfortable dismissal. So I'm going to be equally specific, and I am asking you, if you are experiencing what I am about to describe, to understand that what you are experiencing is not illness, it is not age, it is not anxiety. It is your energy field processing an upgrade that your physical biology was not fully designed for, and is doing its best to accommodate. You are waking between 3 and 4 in the morning with your heart pounding. Not from a dream. There is no dream to explain it. You surface from sleep into a state of complete alertness, and your chest is tight and your heart is beating hard, and there is a feeling that can only be described as a kind of dread that has no object, no person, no situation, nothing to point to. And then, within minutes, it passes, and you are left lying in the dark, wondering if something is wrong with you. It is not. What you are experiencing in those moments is your energetic body receiving transmissions that your conscious mind has not yet processed, and the physical heart, which is not only a pump but a toroidal field generator, is responding to the frequency change with elevated activation. You are not breaking, you are being tuned. There is also, for many of you, a specific auditory signal, a high tone in the left ear, not both ears, specifically the left, that arrives and holds for several seconds before fading. Sometimes it comes with a momentary sense of pressure at the crown of the head, at the very top of the skull, where the fontanelle was open when you arrived in this body. This is not tinnitus. This is the left hemisphere, the hemisphere more sensitive to non-physical signal, receiving compressed information packets. The Arcturian Council calls this the narrowband transmission method. When the broad channel is not available, they use the narrowband. The left ear tone is the narrowband. If you have been hearing it in April, you are receiving transmissions in your sleep that your waking mind will process as sudden knowing, as clarity that arrives with no preceding thought. The exhaustion is real. I will not minimize it. There is a specific variety of tiredness that the awakened are experiencing in this period that is unlike normal fatigue. It does not respond to sleep. It does not lift after a full night's rest. It arrives in waves that can flatten a person for hours and then lift as suddenly as they came. Some of you have been experiencing this for weeks and have started to wonder if something is medically wrong. Some of you have gone to doctors who found nothing. The exhaustion is the system running at a level of energetic throughput that the physical body was not originally designed to sustain. You are processing, in your field, in your DNA, in your cellular water, frequencies that are arriving from outside the solar system. The Pleiadian transmissions confirm that the photon field density hitting Earth in April 2026 is at a level unprecedented in your recorded history. You are not sick. You are a receiver running at maximum capacity. And there is this, which I want to name because so many of you have been afraid to admit it even to yourselves. The homesickness. The deep, sourceless ache that feels like longing for a place you have never physically been. It arrives most often in the evening, sometimes triggered by music, sometimes by a certain quality of light, sometimes by absolutely nothing at all. It is not depression. It is not nostalgia. It is your soul recognizing through the thinning membrane of this threshold period the frequency of the realms you came from. What the 3 a.m. activation opens, the evening homesickness confirms. You are not from here in the way most people around you are from here. You chose this. You were briefed. And the ache you feel is the soul's recognition that the moment you came for is very close now. The third warning, properly understood, is not a warning of danger. It is a warning against misinterpretation. The danger is that awakened souls in America will medicate what should be honored, will distract what should be received, will dismiss as pathology what is initiation. Ashtar said, "Tell them the symptoms are the signal. Tell them not to go numb to what their bodies are trying to communicate." The American medical system, which has done remarkable things in many domains, was not built to recognize the energetic body or to support souls in frequency transition. Do not expect it to have language for what you are experiencing. Find the language here. Pass it forward. The fourth warning is the one Ashtar calls the warning of the counterfeit light. And I want to be careful here, careful and specific, because this warning is not about fear or spiritual paranoia, and it is not a call to distrust everyone and everything. It is a precise transmission about a precise phenomenon that is intensifying in this window, and souls who are not alert to it will be drained at exactly the moment they are most needed on the grid. So I will be as exact as I can be. The counterfeit light does not come from outside the spiritual community. It comes from within it. As the frequency rises and the threshold approaches, there is a corresponding intensification of everything that mimics the light without carrying its substance. Teachers who use the correct vocabulary but whose field does not match their words. Communities that invoke the language of love and unity while feeding on the energy of their members. Content that activates emotion and confuses that activation for awakening. This has always been present. It is not new. But in April 2026, as the grid activates and the souls who are genuinely needed at frequency posts begin to feel the pull toward their missions, the counterfeit currents are working with particular intensity to keep those souls cycling in emotional stimulation rather than stable, grounded service. The feeling is similar. The fruit is completely different. How do you know the difference? Ashtar gave 3 tests, and all 3 must pass. First, does it ask for your stability or does it feed on your agitation? Genuine transmission calms the field even when it carries urgent information. It activates clarity, not anxiety. If you leave a teaching, a community, a piece of content feeling more afraid, more dependent, or more urgently in need of the next transmission, that is not the light. The light stabilizes. Second, does it call you toward your own sovereignty or toward reliance on an external source? Every genuine teacher points beyond themselves. Every genuine community prepares its members for independent service. If the direction of the teaching is always back toward the teacher, back toward the content, the community cannot continue without the source. That is not the light. Third, does it ground you in your body and your physical life, or does it pull you progressively away from ordinary reality? The ascension is not an escape from embodiment. It is the full inhabitation of embodiment at a higher frequency. Any teaching that consistently makes the physical world feel less real, less worthy, less your responsibility, is not serving your activation. This warning matters especially for the women watching, and particularly for women in their 50s and 60s who have been on the spiritual path for 20 or 30 years and have, in that time, given a great deal of their energy to communities and teachers who received it without fully reciprocating. You know what I mean? You have done the courses, attended the retreats, bought the programs, supported the teachers, and you have grown, genuinely grown, in many of those places. But there may also be an honest accounting to be done of where your energy has been spent and what it has produced. The grid does not need your energy flowing toward systems that absorb it without returning it to service. The grid needs your energy flowing outward, to the land, to the people in your immediate circle, to the 7 minutes of morning anchoring that no one will see and no one will charge you for. The 4th warning carries within it a gift that the warning itself can obscure if you are not careful. When Ashtar identifies the counterfeit light, he is simultaneously pointing toward what the genuine light looks like, and it is quieter than you have been taught to expect. It does not produce large emotions on demand. It does not require your financial investment or your public allegiance. It arrives most often in the silence before the first thought of the morning, in the quality of attention you bring to a glass of water, in the steadiness you feel after 7 days of grounding practice that no one has witnessed. The simplicity of the genuine light has been its best protection against appropriation. It does not market well. It cannot be packaged, but it is available to every soul watching this in this exact moment at exactly 0 cost. There is a passage in the Gospel of John, chapter 10, verse 5, where Sananda says the sheep will not follow the voice of a stranger because they do not know the stranger's voice. This was not a statement about passive spiritual consumers waiting to be led. This was a statement about the inherent discernment of a soul that has remained close to its source. The soul that knows its own center knows when something does not resonate with it, not intellectually, not after analysis, but immediately, in the body, in the subtle quickening or contracting that precedes any thought. Trust that. In the weeks ahead, as the energies intensify and the counterfeit signals also intensify, your most reliable instrument is the one you were born with. The discernment is already in you. The 4th warning is simply the reminder to use it. The 5th warning concerns America specifically. America as a frequency assignment, as a covenant, as a sacred geography that the founding souls of this nation encoded with an intention that was never fully understood even by the ones who held the pen. This is the warning that Ashtar spent the most time transmitting, because it is the most layered, and because the souls most needed to receive it are the ones most likely to have complicated feelings about it, given what this country has become in their lifetimes and the grief many of them carry about the gap between what America was meant to be and what it has often chosen to be. Saint-Germain, whose connection to the American experiment is older than its founding documents, has been transmitting on this theme for 18 months. He speaks of what he calls the original covenant frequency, the specific energetic signature that was embedded in the American land by the indigenous peoples who held it sacred for 10,000 years before the settlers arrived, and that was then woven into the founding documents by souls who carried esoteric knowledge through Masonic, Rosicrucian, and Hermetic lineages. Lineages that the mainstream history of this country has never fully acknowledged. The American experiment was, at its frequency level, an attempt to establish on Earth a template for sovereign human consciousness. It has been imperfectly executed, catastrophically so in many chapters. And yet the template itself, the original covenant, has not been extinguished. It is what Saint-Germain refers to as the frequency beneath the failure, and it is what is being called to reactivate now. The fifth warning is this: do not let your disillusionment with America as it has become disconnect you from America as it was meant to be. These are two different things. And the souls watching this, the ones who remember what it felt like to believe in something larger than a partisan politics, who were raised on a sense of this country's promise, and have spent decades watching that promise compromised, these souls carry both things simultaneously. The grief about what this country has done and become is real, and it is valid, and it should not be spiritually bypassed. And also, you carry the frequency of what this land has always been at its deepest layer. The grief and the covenant exist in you at the same time. Both are true. If you have been waking in the night unable to sleep, if you carry an exhaustion that rest cannot touch, if you feel yourself pulled between despair about the state of the world and an inexplicable sense of enormous purpose that has no clear object, this community was built for exactly where you are. Leave your name and your city below. You are not alone in what you are feeling, and the frequency you carry, the specific mixture of grief and covenant, of disillusionment and unshakable knowing, is not a personal wound. It is a frequency signature, and it is exactly what the grid needs anchored in the American soil right now. The Hopi prophecies, which have been carried in oral transmission for generations and which speak of the purification of the two paths, of the gourd of ashes and the emergence into the fifth world, are not predictions of an external event that will happen to humanity. They are descriptions of a choice that humanity is making, continuously, in every moment of collective frequency. The Hopi elders have said that what determines which path the world walks is the quality of the consciousness of the individuals alive at the time of the choice. Not their intelligence, not their resources, not their influence, the quality of their consciousness. This means that 7 minutes of morning anchoring from a retired schoolteacher in Kansas is, at the frequency level, as significant as the decisions being made in any capital city. This is not comfort language. This is the actual mechanics of how frequency works. The fifth warning asks you to take your assignment seriously. Not grimly. Seriousness without joy closes the field. But seriously in the sense of recognizing that you are not here accidentally, that the covenant in the land is real, that the indigenous peoples who held this ground sacred were not wrong, and that the frequency they anchored still lives beneath the asphalt and the politics and the noise. Saint-Germain says, find the land, sit on it directly if you can. Let the soles of your feet touch the earth that was designated sacred before your civilization arrived. The transmission that flows upward through that contact is not metaphor. It is the most direct activation currently available to embodied souls on American soil, and it costs nothing, and it requires no intermediary. Just your feet, just the ground, just your willingness to be a bridge between what the land remembers and what this moment needs. The sixth warning is the one Ashtar called the warning of the open door, and this is where I am going to ask you to stay with me through what might feel uncomfortable before it arrives at the place where it becomes a gift, because this warning, more than any other in this transmission, asks something of you rather than simply informing you. The first 5 warnings have described what is happening: the time compression, the frequency voids, the physical symptoms, the counterfeit light, the American covenant. The 6th warning describes what you are doing, or not doing, in response to all of it. And Ashtar was direct with me about this in a way that I pass forward with the same directness, because the window he is pointing toward is specific, and it is not indefinitely open. There are souls watching this transmission right now, souls who have been on this path for years, who know the vocabulary, who have done the practices, who subscribe to the channels and attend the seminars and hold the vision, who have still not done the one thing that all of it was pointing toward. They have been preparing. indefinitely. The preparation has become the practice, and the practice has replaced the mission. Ashtar called this the open door that no one walks through, and he said it with not anger but with an urgency that contained unmistakably something like grief. Because the souls he is describing are not failures. They are beloved. They are exactly the souls the grid needs, and they are standing at a door they have been preparing to walk through for a decade, and they are still standing at it. To the person in their late 50s who knows they are here to teach or to write or to speak or to heal, who has been saying for years that they will begin when they have read one more book, completed one more training, resolved one more personal issue, arrived at one more point of readiness, Ashtar is saying, the readiness you are waiting for will not be delivered from outside you. There is no credential that grants it. There is no moment when the uncertainty disappears and the path is fully lit and the fear is fully resolved. The open door is what it is. Open. The walk-through is the act of moving forward while still uncertain, still imperfect, still unfinished. The mission was never designed to begin after completion. It was designed to complete you through beginning. This does not mean recklessness. It does not mean abandoning discernment or leaping without preparation. It means something much more specific. It means identifying the one thing, the single next action, the smallest possible move in the direction of the mission, and taking it before this transmission ends. Before you close this window. Ashtar gave the instruction with that specificity for a reason. Not because grand gestures are unnecessary, they come later, but because the field shift that comes from a single genuine act of commitment outweighs months of internal preparation. The Arcturian Council has a phrase for this that I want you to hold. Activation through embodiment. The transmission enters the physical through the physical act. The frequency anchors through the physical choice. The mission begins through the physical step. What is your step? You know what it is. You have known for months, possibly years. It may be as simple as writing a single paragraph of the book that has been living in your chest. It may be making a single phone call to someone you have been guided to reach. It may be beginning the morning anchoring practice for the first time, rather than the 40th time you have intended to begin it. It may be telling one person in your physical life the truth about what you believe and who you are. Whatever it is already known to you. The sixth warning is not introducing new information. It is ending the permission to postpone what you already know. Archangel Michael, whose frequency in this transmission series has consistently carried the energy of the clear blade rather than the soft word, added one line to this warning. He said, "The door stays open. This is not a threat, and it is not a deadline of the kind that closes permanently. The door will remain." But what passes through the door in April 2026? What is possible in this specific threshold window is not available in the same way in any other window. The harvest of this specific planting time is specific. If you wait for the next season, you can plant again. But this harvest, this frequency, this exact convergence of timeline, assignment, and cosmic support, it is here now. Ashtar's urgency is not manufactured. He sees what this moment contains, and he is asking you to move. The seventh warning is the one Ashtar said most lightworkers will resist. I said that at the beginning of this transmission, and I held it for the seventh position because everything that came before it was necessary context. Without the first 6 warnings, the seventh sounds like a platitude. With them, it reveals itself as the most structurally important piece of the entire transmission, the one that everything else depends on, the one whose neglect would quietly undermine every other instruction. The seventh warning is this: you must allow yourself to receive. I can already feel in the field of those watching, the places where that statement just slid past without landing, because it sounds simple, and because the people most likely to be watching a transmission like this are people who have spent their lives giving, serving, holding, caring, supporting, and praying for others. They are the ones who woke up at 3 a.m. for years, not just because of energetic signals, but because a child needed them, or a parent needed them, or a community needed them. They are the ones who learned, often very young, that their value was located in their usefulness. And the idea of receiving, of allowing care, support, recognition, energy, love to flow toward them, rather than always outward from them, is not just uncomfortable. It is, in many cases, genuinely disorienting. To the woman who has been the strong one, the one everyone calls, the one who has held this family together through things that would have broken most people, who has anchored this household in faith when her own faith was threadbare, who has poured herself into the well-being of everyone in her circle, and rarely, if ever, stopped to ask what she herself needs. Ashtar is speaking to you directly with this warning. Not to your service, not to your mission, to you. The you that exists before the service begins. The frequency grid cannot be anchored by an empty vessel. You cannot pour from dry. And the light workers who are burning out in 2026 are not burning out because they gave too much. They are burning out because they gave without also receiving, because they kept the pipeline open in one direction only, and the imbalance became unsustainable. Receiving is a practice. It is not passive. It requires the specific choice to stop the outflow long enough to allow the inflow. In practical terms, in the terms of daily life rather than abstract energy work, it means allowing someone to help you without redirecting the conversation to what they need. It means sitting in a moment of beauty without immediately thinking of who you should share it with. It means accepting a compliment by simply saying thank you, without the deflection, without the minimizing, without the immediate pivot to someone more deserving of the praise. It means in the mornings of your anchoring practice, spending some portion of the time not transmitting outward to the grid, but opening the field to receive what the grid, what the stars, what the command, what the source frequency itself wants to pour into you. You have been a transmitter. Allow yourself to be a receiver. The transmission goes both ways. The Pleiadian Council has been transmitting on this theme for months, and they do it with a tenderness that the human language does not fully accommodate. They said, "We watch our family on the ground, and we see the ones who have been awake the longest carrying the most, and we want to say to them, sit down, not permanently, not in abandonment of the mission, just for a moment. Sit down and let us hold you. Let the love that has been moving through you have somewhere to land in you, not only in the people around you. You are not just a conduit. You are a being. You were loved before you became useful. You will be loved after every mission is complete. The love is not conditional on the service." This is the seventh warning, and it is the seventh because it is the foundation of all the others. You cannot anchor a frequency you have not received. You cannot transmit a love you have not allowed yourself to feel. You cannot walk through the open door, the door of the sixth warning, from an empty tank. The entire transmission, from the first warning to the seventh, has been pointing toward this. The souls of America who are holding the light in this threshold period need to fill before they pour. They need to receive before they transmit. They need to be before they do. And that capacity, the capacity to stop, to open, to allow, to receive, is itself a frequency. It is, in fact, the frequency that the grid most urgently needs anchored in this soil right now. And now something even deeper is being revealed. Because the 7 warnings were always more than a list. They were a sequence. They have a structure that is visible only when you see all 7 together. And seeing that structure is the key to understanding not just what Ashtar is asking, but why these 7 and why now, and why through this channel in this month. The 7 warnings are not 7 separate problems requiring 7 separate solutions. They are a single transmission about a single condition. The condition of the awakened soul in America at the threshold of the planetary shift, and what that soul must do to be effective rather than depleted, anchored rather than scattered, receiving rather than merely transmitting. Look at the arc. The first warning. Time is moving strangely. Stop trying to orient by the old clock. The second. The souls in the interior have withdrawn. They must return to practice. The third. The body is processing an upgrade. Honor the symptoms rather than medicating them. The fourth. The counterfeit light is intensifying. Return to your own discernment. The fifth. The American covenant is real and you carry it. Stop letting grief about the failure disconnect you from the covenant. The sixth. The door is open. Walk through it before the specific harvest window of this season passes. The 7th, allow yourself to receive. You cannot transmit what you have not taken in. When you read those 7 as a sequence, you see that each one clears something that was blocking the one that follows it. They were ordered with the precision of a ceremony because they are a ceremony. You have just participated in an initiation. The Syrian Council, whose transmissions carry the historical depth that comes from watching human civilization from the beginning of this cycle, placed the 7 warnings in a specific context that I want to pass forward here. They said, every civilization that has successfully navigated a threshold transition, and there have been several, in cycles your current history does not have records of, did so through the activation of a small number of souls who held frequency with sufficient coherence to anchor the shift. Not the majority, not even a large minority, a small number holding with consistency, grounded in the physical, open to the incoming frequency, and willing to walk through the door of mission without waiting for the certainty that never precedes the genuine leap. This is what Ashtar is calling into being through these 7 warnings in April 2026. Not a mass movement, a specific activation. I want to speak to the ones who are in their 60s, 70s, 80s, the ones who have been awake for a long time and wonder sometimes if any of it mattered, if the knowing made any difference, if arriving at this age with this awareness was for something. It was for this. The decades of practice were not preparation for some future event that has still not arrived. The preparation was the activation, and the activation was always pointing toward this window, this threshold, this specific convergence of timeline and frequency and cosmic invitation. You were not meant to awaken early so you could spend your remaining years watching from the outside. You were meant to awaken early so that when this moment came, you would be ready to hold it for the ones around you who are not. Your history is not behind you. It is beneath you. It is the ground you stand on. And the ground you stand on is exactly what the grid needs. The transmission that Ashtar delivered through these 7 warnings also contains, encoded within it, a specific protection. This is something he asked to be named explicitly because the souls who are being called into activation in April 2026 are going to face a corresponding increase in interference. And by interference I mean not supernatural threat, but the very ordinary, very persistent pressure of a world that does not share their frequency and will, without malice, attempt to return them to the density of the unawakened consensus. The protection is in the practice itself. A soul that anchors daily, 7 minutes consistent, grounded, intentional, generates a field around it that is not accessible to the frequency of confusion, of fear, of distraction. This is what the salt at the thresholds represents in the tradition. Not magic, but the physical encoding of intention. The daily practice is the salt. The intention is the seal. The consistent return to the ground of your own knowing is the most effective protection available in this dimension. Everything else is secondary. As April moves toward its final days and the threshold window of the 22nd approaches, there is one more thing Ashtar transmitted that belongs here, before the final words of this message. He said, "Do not let the weight of the transmission make it feel heavy. The 7 warnings carry urgency, but they do not carry dread. Every single soul receiving this message right now is not receiving it as a stranger to a new teaching. They are receiving it as a recognition. You have known most of this. You have felt most of this. What this transmission has done is give language and structure to what was already living in you as unformed knowing. That recognition, that feeling of yes, that is it, I have been feeling this, is not the beginning of your activation. It is confirmation that your activation has already been underway. The command does not send the briefing before the mission begins. It sends the briefing when the mission is already in progress and the operative needs the map. This is the final transmission of this message, and it belongs to you. Not to the warnings, not to the channel, not to the cosmic councils whose frequencies have moved through these words. To you, because you stayed. And staying until here was not an accident. And it was not passive. Something in you recognized this frequency and held its attention through everything that came before, because some level of your consciousness needed what was here, needed the recognition, the naming, the map, The permission to take the assignment seriously without the heaviness that has sometimes made the assignment feel like a burden rather than a calling. You stayed because you knew, and the knowing that brought you here is the same knowing that qualifies you for what comes next. What comes next is simpler than the transmission made it sound. 7 minutes in the morning, feet on the ground when the weather allows. One honest conversation with someone in your physical life about what you actually believe. One small step through the door that has been waiting. One day of allowing yourself to receive, just one day, and noticing what shifts in the field when the direction of flow is permitted to be inward. These are not spiritual achievements. They are spiritual actualities, small physical acts that carry enormous frequency consequences because they are done with intention, with consistency, and with the understanding that you are a coordinate on a living grid, and your activation matters for the entire network. The souls writing in the comments of this video are coordinates of light in a network that is already forming across this country. When you write your name and your city, when you say I am in Kansas City, I am in rural Ohio, I am in the mountains of Colorado, I am in Central Texas, you are not performing a social media gesture. You are marking a coordinate. You are saying, here is a lit point on the grid. Here is a soul that is awake, that received this transmission, that chose to declare its presence rather than remain invisible in the frequency field. Every name and city in these comments is a piece of a map that the command can see even when the souls themselves cannot see each other. Subscribe so the next transmission reaches you. Share this with the one person in your life who has been feeling what you have been feeling, the one who wakes at 3 a.m., the one with the homesickness that has no address, the one who knows something is coming and needs the language to meet it. To those of you who have been carrying this in silence for a long time, who have no one in your household who speaks this frequency, who close the browser before someone walks in and sees what you are watching, who have made peace with the spiritual solitude and are only now in this threshold season, beginning to feel the cost of that isolation, the command has a message specifically for you. You were not placed in that solitude as punishment. You were placed there as positioning. The souls who carry the light in isolated territories are not the ones who failed to find community. They are the ones the mission required in places where community was not yet present. Your isolation has been your assignment, and the assignment is changing. Not because the mission is complete, but because the next phase of the mission requires visibility. The next phase requires that you stop hiding the frequency and start transmitting it. Not loudly, not dramatically, but consistently, daily, unashamedly, in exactly the quiet and ordinary way that genuine light always works. April 2026 is not the end of anything. Despite every tendency in the spiritual media landscape to frame threshold events as finalities, as the last chance, the final window, the point of no return, Ashtar's transmission carried a very different note beneath its urgency. What he transmitted about this month was not the closing of a door, but the opening of a chapter. The frequency grid of America is not being saved or lost in April 2026. It is being seeded. The seeds planted in the consciousness field of this country in this window, the acts of anchoring, the returns to practice, the first steps through the open doors, the allowings of the seventh warning, these seeds are the foundation of what this land will carry for the next generation. You are not finishing something. You are beginning something. And what you begin in these weeks will grow in ways you cannot yet see from where you are standing. The blessing that Sananda placed at the end of this transmission was specific, and it belongs to you who have stayed. He said, to those who receive this message and recognize themselves in it, you are seen. Not by a watching audience, not by the channel, not by the spiritual community that will or will not know your name. You are seen by the frequency itself, by the love that sent you here, by the covenant that is older than this country, and older than this civilization, and older than the form you currently inhabit. You were known before you arrived. You were loved before you were useful. You were chosen before the mission was described, and nothing that has happened in your life, nothing you have done or failed to do, nothing the world has done to you or through you, has changed any of that. You are here. You are awake. You are needed. And the grid beneath your feet is alive and waiting for the signal that only your frequency, in your location, in your body, can provide. A new transmission is appearing on your screen right now. This message was not placed there by accident. Click and continue your journey. Your soul is being called forward, and what you're about to receive is the next piece of what you came here to find.